On this week's Tony and Josh show, we find out that Mars has a runny nose or it's leaking something. Either way, NASA's excited for the discovery of liquid on the surface of the red planet. Is it acts of a nanny state or a jab at free speech? Deer Park, Texas passes a new anti-texting and driving law.
The California Labor Union, who's all for that $15 minimum wage, now doesn't want to abide by the rules they fought so hard to get passed. Surgeons pull off an amazing feat to save one man's fingers. You'll never guess where they had him stick them on this Tony and Josh show.
Warning. The opinions, ideas, views, emotions, and temper tantrums expressed or otherwise conveyed on the Tony and Josh show may not and most likely is not suitable for all audiences and therefore should not be heard by anyone unless supervised by an appropriate nanny state. Enjoy!
Heidi-ho, neighbor. This is episode 90. If you're new to the Tony and Josh show, we're here to inform, entertain, and give you a laugh or two. We've searched the interwebs and found these earth-shaking stories to bring to you tonight.
Surgeons pull off an amazing feat to save one man's fingers. We'll find out that Mars has a runny nose, or at least is leaking something. It's getting harder and harder to send winky faces in rush hour anymore nowadays. And the California Labor Union, who was all for that $15 minimum wage, now doesn't want to abide by the rules they fought so very hard to get passed.
Of course not. But first, we want you guys to give us a call using our SpeakPipe feature on our website at tonyandjosh.com. Tweet us during the show at Tony and Josh Show, and don't forget to include us in your other tweets with hashtag Tony and Josh.
Oh, yeah, we do love hearing from you guys, and without a doubt, we very much appreciate all the feedback that we get from you guys, whether it's the reviews or the voicemails or even dropping us an email every now and again. And speaking of people contacting us and sending in voicemails, we've got Nikki G up tonight in our first round of voicemails.
Hey, this is Nikki G. I just want to comment about the guy who wrapped his house in tinfoil in Hermitage, Pennsylvania. Believe it or not, I am from the Youngstown, Ohio area.
Shocking.
Yeah, if the chances are the guy, I don't know who he is, probably showed up at the Nikki G family reunion at one time or another. If he's not a family member, he's probably a good friend of the family.
Oh, no.
Sounds like it.
It's freaky stuff.
Aluminum
All
foil.
right, guys, I'll chat you later. You have a good one. Bye.
Well, birds of a feather and all that.
Yeah, they're doing all that kind of flocking here and there. All right, let's get over to our next Nikki G voicemail.
Hey, this is Nikki G. I just want to say that studies show that middle-aged women that put on a few pounds live longer than the men who mention it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll chat you later. Have a good one. Bye.
Can't go wrong with a fat joke.
Oh, he's a gentleman and a scholar.
Well,
wise beyond his years.
Yeah, well, it's the experience that that you gain as you get older. That if you live through it, then you kind of you have a tendency to learn from it. Although I think when you get older, the memory fades and you start making the same mistakes again.
Well, see, I was leaning a little bit more towards the side of possible tinfoil hat poisoning.
Yes, that's always a possibility.
Always a possibility.
Oh,
yes.
You know what? That's an interesting story. Does it bother you if you see somebody chewing aluminum foil?
Dear God, man.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was not aware of this, and I mean, I don't make a habit of chewing aluminum foil, but I can do it, and it's just kind of fun to munch the mess up with that metal, and it's kind of it's like a bubble popping thing that bubble wrap, the packing stuff is just kind of crunching on aluminum. But apparently, a lot of people it causes them pain, and it causes them pain to see it because they are empathizing.
If you guys could see my face right now, I'm like winced up and I'm clenching my hands.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm like on the edge of my seat and all no, you don't do that kind of stuff.
And why is that? Tell me, because I don't understand it.
Maybe it could be pack mentality type of thing. When you see somebody else yawn, you yawn and that sort of stuff. It could be ingrained just into certain people's psyche or something. I don't know. I've accidentally gotten a little bit of tinfoil before in a piece of food or what have you, and I'm talking more than just a corner here. I'm talking, a good enough to bite down on, and it was not a pleasant experience, and one that I don't care to repeat ever again. So, I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable, and I know there are others out there that share my pain.
Oh yeah, lots of others. I mean, I've done it. I found it out accidentally. I think somebody says that they actually get electrical shock if they do that. And I think it has to do with the fillings that they had in their teeth.
Yeah.
And I don't have any fillings. So I think that's the reason why. Yeah. I think that's the reason why I can get away with that.
So you what, to irritate the wife? You come walk into the kitchen with a roll of Reynolds wrap in your mouth. Just look what I got, honey.
I haven't done it. I haven't done it in years. And you know, probably the baked potato.
Well, your dentist probably thanks you.
The baked potato was probably gone, and I just wanted to keep eating. It was probably the last time I did it. So
where did it go?
It still tastes like baked potato. But anyway, it just dawned on me, and I thought that was kind of strange. And I was going to get your take on that because I know that's one thing that we've never discussed. Speaking of not discussed, we're not going to discuss any reviews tonight because we didn't get any. You know, we'd love to have some. Love to hear how the show sounds to you guys. What maybe some things you'd like to hear us talk more about. Maybe more sci-fi stuff. Maybe less sci-fi stuff. Let us know. You can go over to iTunes and leave us a review, or on the Twitter. You can even go to Facebook. Just look for Tony and Josh or Tony and Josh Show. And let us know what you think.
Absolutely. And Tony, we got an email address that people could that we have set up that people could send stuff to, links or otherwise. Yeah. What is that? info@tonyandjosh.com. Am I
That's exactly right.
Very good. Very good. Well, hey, speaking of stuff that's out and about and all that stuff, noteworthy news out and about and around the nation and worldwide. Well, Hillary got hacked. Russia bombed some stuff, but doesn't hit anything. GoPro is cutting their prices. I'm excited about that. Donald Trump thinks Syrian refugees are terrorists in disguise.
Agreed.
Google and Microsoft are playing nicely again. Aww. And speaking of Google, they just acquired yet another company that will, of course, change our lives and the way we communicate through our phones. Oh, I can't wait. I'm predicting Skynet. And speaking of changing everyone's life forever, scientists have discovered, or at least created in a lab somewhere under a secret volcano, a mealworm capable of eating styrofoam, thus saving the planet or something. I don't know. I just report this stuff, people.
They're gonna wind up making something that eats us, and it ain't gonna be good.
Seriously. I mean, next, styrofoam eating mealworms, and what comes after that? I don't know. These things are gonna grow to nuclear sized proportions and start eating buildings. I'm guessing. It's an educated guess, people.
Yeah. I just want to take a moment and thank you for taking time to download or stream our podcast and listen to Josh and I act up, talk about random things for 30 minutes. It means a lot that you're here, and if you weren't, there'd be no reason for us to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for spending a half hour, 40 minutes of your life with us that you'll never get back.
And even more whenever the Walking Dead bonus episodes start again.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that. That is coming up here very soon. You guys can look for bonus downloads from Tony and Josh coming up here very soon as that season begins. We enter zombie season, as it were, and we produce an extra show for you guys all about The Walking Dead. We recap. See, I can't even say that. I'm so excited. The previous week's show and give you guys a little bit of opportunity to catch up and of course, play along. So look forward to those here very soon. And of course, if you guys want to stay up on beat with all of that stuff, make sure you guys are checking out often over at tonyandjosh.com.
Josh, I don't know about you, but I think it makes the Walking Dead just that much more fun when we talk about it, because I kind of have to pay closer attention because I know that I'm going to be talking about it and I want to sound somewhat intelligent during the recap.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
Exactly. And so I don't know. It's a lot of fun, and I'm hoping it's fun with you guys listening to us talk about it, and it makes the show more enjoyable for you. So this was kind of interesting. The California Labor Union that fought for the $15 minimum wage now wants an exemption. What?
Didn't see this one coming.
No. It's like the Obamacare thing, wasn't it? Yeah, we got to have that stuff. Now, can we get an exemption? So the union, the labor union that led the charge for the $15 minimum wage hike in cities across California is now moving to secure an exemption for employers under the union contracts. The Los Angeles County Federation of Labor buried the exemption on the 8th page of its 12-page proposal. And you don't want to do it 50% of the way through. You want to, not 50 because you don't want to be that obvious.
Because the law of averages, they pretty much give up after about page 6 or 7. Yeah. You're pretty safe back there on 8 or 9. Yeah.
The politicians aren't reading this stuff anymore anyway. They're just passing it based on what they're told to do.
This feels about right. Moving on to the next guy. All right.
So the loophole would allow employers with collective bargaining agreements to sidestep the wage hike and pay their union members below the proposed $15 an hour minimum wage. James Shirk, or is that Shrek? A research fellow at Labor Economics, the Heritage Foundation, said the exemption is a union attempt to encourage businesses to unionize by making themselves the only low-wage option as union members continue to drop off. It is insidious.
I can literally smell the corruption from here.
No, it's not corruption. It's just good business. If you're looking at being out of power, basically taking the middleman out of the equation, more money going to the employer, more money going to the employee, and you're not going to get paid anymore for not doing a damn thing, well, you need to fix that pretty damn soon, or you're going to have to go out and get a real job. So
we can't have that.
No, of course not. This is just the unions trying to stay relevant and trying to stay in business, making that money. And I'll tell you, I hate unions. I think that they had a place back whenever there was a lot of abuses going on, but I don't think that that's necessary now. It may be necessary in the future, and people can reunionize then, but these people it's almost like welfare. The unions have been around so long that they don't know how to act. Like I said, getting a real job and making money from making a product or, providing a service of some sort. I mean, they're providing a service, but this is just corrupt. This is just absolute positively corruption. So this proposal would force any worker in Santa Monica whose labor is worth less than $15 an hour to purchase union representation in order to hold a job. Shirk said unions should not be able to secretly or selectively exempt themselves from harmful consequences of a minimum wage hikes they lobby for. Certainly not.
This is the old adage, hey, this is you made this bed, you got to sleep in it now.
Exactly.
That really comes to mind here. No, you don't get an exemption. And honestly, I mean, Tony, if they do get this exemption, obviously somebody was bought off.
Oh, certainly. I mean, it happens all the time. It's amazing how well things work with the kind of corruption that goes on in this country. Now, this kind of reminds me of the same deal whenever the Obamacare was not in law, had not been passed yet, and everybody was calling for Congress and the president to be under the same Obamacare rules and regulations as everybody else. Of course, that didn't happen. So here we go. It has to do with not us, but you guys. It's not good enough for us, but it's good enough for you.
Well, if you guys would like to call the AFL-CIO and give them a piece of your mind, their phone number is 213-736-1211. You're welcome.
Yes, certainly.
Well, hey, speaking of numbers and all that sort of stuff, texting and driving, should it be illegal? In some places, it already is. Well, starting this week in Deer Park, if you're caught texting and driving, you will be pulled over. That's because a new texting and driving ordinance that was passed over the summer begins October 1st. For a month, drivers will get warnings, but starting November 1st, they will start receiving tickets. The fine could be up to $200 per instance, Tony. And I'm guessing if they go and get multiple tickets, repeat offenders, as it were, I'm sure those fines are going to start to skyrocket. Well, now they can still use their hands-free device, the Bluetooth headsets or whatever's built into your stereo or infotainment system in your car. But the whole picking up the phone, holding it with your hand, and texting, not so much anymore.
Yeah, I think this is just insane. As do I think the people that text and drive are insane. You should know whether you can do those two things at the same time or not, or judge whether it's safe to do it at the time where you're driving and the difficulty in which the navigation or kids darting out in front of you. You shouldn't be texting. And this is the thing. This is the reason why laws like this come about, is because people don't know their limitations, or they don't have enough self-control. It reminds me of there's a wreck on the opposite side of the freeway, and traffic is backed up, but there's no reason for it to be backed up. And you get up there and you see the dumbass in front of you that's been caught in the same traffic jam for the last 15 minutes, staring, and there is a half mile of free space in front of them, but they're going slow so they can see the wreck.
Oh, and
you're not going to see a damn thing
half
anyway.
The time, that same person is holding up a cell phone with one hand trying to take a picture of it.
Well, thank God no, because I think I'd be on the horn if I saw that personally.
Oh no, I've seen it. I spend so much time in traffic.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I'm just glad I haven't seen it, because I would be on the horn. Like, you dumb son of a bitch, move. If you pull over and look. Oh, like, you can't pull over and look. I got to go 20 miles an hour because I've been waiting 15 minutes to see the show. I'm watching the show. It's now my turn. No, it's your turn to get the hell out of the way.
Just push the skinny pedal already. Yeah, I'm with you, Tony. Look, I'm oftentimes an impatient driver. I will be the first to admit that I drive aggressively. But time and place, really. And if it's that important, just pull over. Seriously.
Yeah.
Now, we encourage people out there to download our show and listen to it and everything, but we also encourage responsible listening. And that means if you are listening to us on your smartphone or something, make sure you load it up and get things going before you get behind the wheel. That way, just to make sure that things are safe.
Or if you got a fumble with something, get the hell out of the way. Go over to the slow lane and be slow. That's fine. Yes. I have no problem with that. But you do all your crap over there. Don't do it in the fast lane simply because you don't want to be held up whenever you decide it's time for you to move your ass. So I'll just add to this. I'm sure you guys probably have gathered, but I am not for texting and driving being illegal. You people that are for it, you're the same people that want laws to make these kids pull up their pants. The same people that don't want man buns legal in public. Screw you. It's a free society. I don't like those things either, but it's going to come back on you eventually. And being an amateur radio operator, I'm waiting for some cop to pull me over while I'm talking on my radio and telling me I can't talk on my radio while the vehicle's in motion.
Oh, see, now that's infringing on your free speech. And I believe that these kind of laws, somebody somewhere in the nation is going to step up and make the correlation between this and the First Amendment. And
that sounds good
texting,
to me.
Regardless of when or where, is an act of free speech and cannot be hindered.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Tony. It's kind of along the lines of helmets while riding a bicycle or motorcycle. Now, I am both a bike rider and a motorcycle rider as well. I own a bike. I've actually been down before, and thankfully I was geared up. I'm a smart person, but if you're the type of person that would wish to ride a motorcycle without a helmet or text while drive incessantly, well, by all means, I think you should have the right to do so. And Darwin will go ahead and make sure that the things play out the way that they should.
Yeah, my girls aren't supposed to be texting while they're driving. I mean, we've made it very clear to them. So I think all those things should be handled in a personal way, whether it be between you and your kids or you and your loved one or loved ones, and not something that's dictated by the government, not another thing that's dictated by the government. And you know what? I don't think cops really want to enforce this stuff either.
It's got to be more paperwork. It's got to be one more thing that they got to look for. They got to worry about, yada, yada. Yeah, I don't think that they want to be looking for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's something that NASA's been looking for quite a while, and, well, I think they found it.
Absolutely. And you know what? We've been talking about water for a while now. What was it? That little bitty old planetoid. I want to say
Ceres.
Thank you. I wanted to say Nimbus, but that's a cloud. Certainly full of water.
There's water there too.
Yeah, exactly. I still haven't heard whether that's salt or water, but after this discovery on Mars, it may be both, because potentially life-giving water still flows across the ancient surface of Mars from time to time. NASA scientists said Monday in revealing a potential breakthrough in both the search for life beyond Earth and human hopes to one day travel there. While the discovery by itself doesn't offer evidence of life on Mars, either past or present, it does boost hopes that the harsh landscape still offers some refuge for microbes to cling to existence. The existence of liquid water, even if it is super salty, briny water, gives the possibility that there is life on Mars and that we have a way to describe how it might survive, said John Grunsfeld, Associate Administrator for the Science Mission. This is just amazing. And, there's been little tidbits, little inklings of surface water on Mars for years now. And it's a big deal when NASA comes out and says, yep, it's there and it's active on the surface, which is just amazing considering the atmospheric pressure and the temperatures. I mean, for water to flow, it has to be very impure. Otherwise, it would boil away or it would be frozen solid. So it definitely has to, as we know, we add things to water in our vehicles during cold times so the liquid inside the radiator and in the block won't freeze. So we're talking about something similar here, but in apparently a natural situation that the water is very salty. And it makes you wonder, is there a reservoir somewhere below that maybe is not as salty?
Very good question. Now, NASA has the technology on Mars to go investigate this, but they're refusing to do it. They say they can't. They've actually got a decent reason for it. Now, you guys know that there are several Mars landers and rovers that are on Mars. Now, out of the, I don't know, half dozen or so that have been launched up there's only 2 that are still working, Opportunity and Curiosity. Now, the 2 of those have the scientific equipment on them to go and check this water out. They've got the means of propulsion. It's within the capability of the unit to get there and to do this. The reason they say they can't do it is because they don't want to contaminate the samples. Now, these rovers have been on the surface of Mars for quite a while. Pretty much everything that's on them is now covered in some bit of Mars something by, I would imagine, dust and other stuff. But they're worried about the stuff that might have hitched a ride once it got launched. Things that could have gotten a ride on the rover itself, or the vehicle that came in from our atmosphere or through its trip through space, whatever. They are worried about contamination, and they don't want to send these rovers over there with such an important discovery. They want to make sure that it's absolutely clean and organic in what they're looking for.
Well, I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, I read the same thing that you're talking about, Josh, and I'm a little surprised because NASA goes through great lengths to make sure there is no biological organisms on these vehicles.
That's what I told myself too. We've all seen the pictures, right, Tony? You know what I'm talking about. The guys in the clean room suits in this gigantic laboratory where these satellites are in these vehicles are assembled and built. I mean, these things don't have a single micron of dust in them.
Well, it's more. But they have people that do nothing but make sure they are sterile.
Right.
And that's why it surprises me, and that they're concerned about this. And the other thing that surprises me is, or not surprises me, the other thing I want to mention is this whole idea of panspermia. It's hard for me to say that without giggling. Where life exists all throughout the universe, and it moves from one place to another, or it explodes out through space, through meteorites, through some other mechanism. I think that whenever we actually learn how if the panspermia thing is actually real or not, we're going to look back and laugh at our concerns for having bacteria on our spacecraft going to other planets, because the whole universe is doing that all the time. I think it's like springtime, and there's all the allergens and all the pollen and all that crap is floating around in space, just like it does here on Earth.
Yeah, I'm actually suffering today, guys. If you are having a hard time keeping up with me, well, I'm having a hard time keeping up with myself.
You sound normal to me.
Having some of this late summer here in the Northwest, and things are still blooming and blowing around, and I'm just having a bit of an issue with my allergies today. So my apologies if I'm a little bit hard to understand this evening, guys. So,
well, I know one thing, Josh, with your allergies, and your hanky in that one hand, I know you're happy it's not sewn to your belly.
Good Lord, yes. Now, I've had some bad allergy attacks, and I've had to go through some just absolute hell, but nothing like this guy. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, if you are squeamish at all, you definitely don't want to listen to the entirety of this story, but because it's going to get a little bit graphic. Now, ordinarily, I wrap up the show with something very odd and twisted, and although this is odd, it definitely doesn't fit into that whole twisted category that I typically finish the show off with. This is about 87-year-old Frank Reyes, who was home alone one day in late June, and he was changing a tire on a trailer when the jack slipped and it pinned his hand against the fender. Now, this was in Texas, and it was more than 100 degrees that afternoon, and it took over a half an hour for help to arrive. Well, so during that 30 minutes, this elderly man's hand was pinned against a hot steel fender.
My goodness.
The hot metal was like an iron, literally, and it just cooked his hand, burning through the work glove, the thick work glove that he was wearing. It burnt through his skin, through his muscle tissue, and even his tendons. Doctors initially tried a conservative approach, cleaning and bandaging the wound, but infection spread too far, too fast, and most of his index finger had to be amputated. Even with intense antibiotics and the best specialist around, still, the hand grew worse. His skin was almost completely dead, his grandfather said. It looked like mummy skin. His granddaughter said that, actually. I'm sorry. Reyes was sent to Dr. Anthony Echo, who realized a skin graft or a flap of tissue from another part of Reyes' body would just not work. It wouldn't take. The damage was literally down to the bone, literally. And without a good blood supply, a graft or a flap of skin would just simply fall off and die itself. Wouldn't stick. Echo decided to try tucking the hand inside of Reyes' belly. When in doubt, sew it inside out, I always say. Well, or in this case, outside in. Anyways, Dr. Anthony Echo, the amazing surgeon behind this unique procedure, knew that in order to grow a new blood supply to the hand, sewing it under a flap on the old man's abdomen was literally the only option. The two raw surfaces of skin stuck, and over the course of about 3 weeks, the blood vessels actually connected and regrew, thus supplying blood to not only the injured area, but the graft of skin itself. Once the skin was bonded, or healed most of the way at least, the surgeons went in to divide the remaining skin on his abdomen, making the transfer onto his hand complete. Under the bandage, the new hand took shape. The abdominal skin bonded with the meat that was the remaining hand, thankfully because of the blood supply. And although his index finger was partially amputated, the old man is an active man, and he plans on using his hands and fingers again. And even if it's with limited strength and mobility, he plans on doing so. And so far, he's been able to move his hand, and so the nerves are good. That's a good sign. And he's been able to wiggle his pinky and his thumb. Next week, the main bandages come off, and we'll find out just how successful this very rare surgery was. As for Reyes, he says, it feels kind of funny. As soon as I'm well enough to drive, I want to take a little trip. I think he should. That is just an amazing story of recovery and courage. And yeah, I mean, I imagine thoughts of after about 25, 30 minutes and nobody had shown up that a hacksaw within reach might have started being an option here. I don't know. That's a tough one.
You know, the only thing that's the downside to this is now when he's hungry, his hand rumbles.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry, honey. Does his hand make me look fat?
You know, looking at the images that you included in the show notes, and I guess we'll have to have those up on the website. I guess that they had done something with his skin, maybe removed any hair from his chest all the way down to his stomach area, where they literally made the flap in his skin around his stomach and placed the hand underneath there. His skin looks really strange. It's very yellowish.
I think part of that might be iodine or some kind of a antiseptic, something to wipe down the area.
I bet you it's that plastic stuff that they use during surgery.
Yeah, it could be that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, guys, we're going to try and get these pictures up. I will warn you that these pictures are kind of graphic if you are kind of squeamish. This is literally, we are talking about a man's hand sewn under a flap of skin on his stomach. I mean, this is not the kind of thing that you see every day, let alone hear about.
I could just see a bad situation with the cops. Show me your hands. I can show you one.
You really don't want to see this one.
Yeah, and I'll mention too for the audio only audience that has not seen these pictures, and perhaps doesn't want to. The skin flap really just extends from the pinky over to the partial index finger. The thumb looks like it made it unscathed. So the opposable thumb, that's what makes us able to do a lot of things. So hopefully with a still pristine thumb, he'll do well. I mean, all the fingers are there with the exception of the index finger. There's just the skin on top was missing. But of course, if it damaged the muscle tissue and the tendons, I could see how it would cause
down
problems.
To the bone.
Yeah,
Tony.
Problems with moving the hands. Hopefully, he's not left-handed because that's his left hand.
Yeah, boy, that is just something else. Medical advancements, everybody. Absolutely just amazing this kind of technology exists, that there are doctors out there who are able to pull this sort of stuff off. Now, granted, this is a little bit of Frankenstein type stuff here. We're talking about you know, I mean, the sewing one part of skin onto another and it growing inside of your body. And it's just very, very odd stuff. I mean, by the basic level, I mean, this is pretty rudimentary science. Skin will grow, and it will grow to itself, more or less. And so although he will be having belly skin on the top of his hand, he will at least still have a hand. 10, 15 years ago, they would have lopped that thing off.
So I'm wondering if it's what's going to happen with the skin on his stomach. I guess it's going to grow back on its own.
Yeah, he'll have a nasty scar. He'll have a big spot there where it's going to look kind of funny. But you know, at 87 years old, I'm pretty sure he's not going shirtless all the time. So probably not too worried about how he's going to fare in that six-pack ab contest.
So, you know, talking about Frankenstein stuff, I think you and I spoke personally about the head transplant that's coming up. Do you recall that?
Yeah, just briefly. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, we need to bring that up as a story here on the show. They're talking about doing the head transplant on this guy that has a disease that causes his body to waste away, and he's a young man. And not only are they talking about transplanting the head, they're talking about using some of the glue basically to glue the spinal columns together and actually regain mobility with the body. And you know, the brain has to send signals to the body for automatic breathing and heart rate and all the rest of that crap. So without the computer hooked up, you won't be able to go anywhere. So they're literally talking about transplanting a head and having the brain communicate with the rest of the body. It'll be very interesting to see what they can accomplish with that.
Very interesting to see if
it happens
will match the drapes.
It won't. So take good care of your body because it may be purchased later on by somebody very rich that needs it, and your family will be set for life.
Yep, and for the rest of your life, make sure that you are not missing a thing with the Tony and Josh Show. Make sure you guys subscribe to our feed. Head over to TonyandJosh.com and subscribe there. You can also follow us on Twitter. That's twitter.com/Tony and Josh Show. Of course, we are on the Facebook, as Tony might say, facebook.com/Tony and Josh Show. Make sure you guys check us out over there. And of course, our entire show archive available for your guys' downloading pleasure, 100% free. TonyandJosh.com is where it all goes down.
Oh, and send your story suggestions to info@TonyandJosh.com, just like Dusty L. Dunn has done in the past. He's come up with some doozies, Josh.
He sure has. We encourage you guys to send us those stories. The more twisted, the better, please.
Yeah, we may have to clean it up for the audience. Even though we have an explicit rating, we like to try to be family friendly. Not family, but family friendly.
Right. A friend of yours who's a friend of ours.
Yeah, and don't forget to tell a friend about our show. We'd like to have more listeners.
Until next week, guys, we'll see you around. I'm Josh. He's Tony. Catch you later.
Nighty-night.